Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. The place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go and hit that great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some like love. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. So in today's episode, we are going to be discussing what should you do if you're asexual and some random person gives you their phone number. But in a moment, before we get into that, I'm just going to tell you who I am. If you didn't know who already, I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity book. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy, and I'm also the author of this awesome fibromyalgia self-help handbook, How to Manage Fibromyalgia to Have Less Pain, More Energy and Feel Happier Like a Superhero Rock Star. So let's get on with tonight's episode. Hello, Eddie. So what do you do if if you're asexual and some random person asks you for their phone number? Well, Eddie's kind of hit the nail on the head in a very short reply. Eddie's reply is, you run for your life. Is that my response? Well, we will see. So how did this question come about? So in my asexual dating group, one of them, I run 3 different asexual dating groups on Facebook. One of the people in there asked a question to the group. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to reveal who they are. I just thought it was a really good question. So they said, does anyone else here feel awkward when a guy or girl stops to talk to you at random in the street and asks for your phone number? Now, there was different answers to this question. One person said that hasn't never happened to them, but they probably feel awkward if it did. Another person said it'd be awkward, but not necessarily scary or anything. And the other person who wrote the post, was feeling, very kind of like strange about the thing. So it was kind of a weird for them. So obviously I don't want to go into too much detail because that's our own personal opinion. So, there's kind of mixed range of responses, but I should have said my response to that question, which is not the typical response, because I'm an extroverted asexual, if you didn't already know that, who kind of like does crazy things sometimes in a good way. So when they said, does anyone else here feel awkward when a guy or girl stops to talk to you random in the street to ask you for your phone number, my reply was that no, because it's usually me stopping the guy and giving him my phone number, which probably wasn't the response that they were thinking of. So yes, I am female. I was born female. I'm very female, but I approach guys. Woo! Shock. So there was a guy, I don't even remember me telling you, but there was a guy who came out of my supermarket across the road, and he was Indian. And I actually gave him I told him about asexuality, but he'd actually heard of it before. And he said he lived up the road from me, basically. And so I gave him my card and said, basically, like, contact me if you want to go out sometime. I think I said to him, after the situation's finished in the world, when we don't have to isolate anymore, when I'm recording this in 2020. So I gave him my phone number because it's on my card to do with asexual stuff that I do. So yeah, and actually it's really, really strange because when I went shopping, was it day before? No, it was yesterday. Was it yesterday I saw them? Or I went shopping yesterday anyway. So very recently, one of the times I went shopping at my local supermarket, I saw him again, but he was with a girl. So I don't know if that was his girlfriend or not, but he said hello to me. He gave me a big smile and said, "Oh, hi." Usually guys don't do that, in my experience, if their girlfriend's right next to them, because they'll be like, "Oh, who's she?" But yeah, he did that. So I thought that was quite nice. So I, sometimes give my phone number. Like if I'm in clubs, I sometimes give my phone number, although I've given up on that more now because I've decided that, like Eddie probably knows, most of the people that ask you for your phone number, probably the majority of the whole world that ask you for your phone number, who are not asexual are after sex. That is why they ask for your phone number randomly, because they are sexually attracted to you and they just want a quick SHAG or FCUK or however you want to say those horrible words that they usually associate with sex, because that's how they kind of think. And so, yeah, the majority of time they're after sex, clearly. So really that's kind of why I guess I like to pick the person I give my phone to. But when I go to the club now, I just go there. I don't go now because I can't, where those places are shut at the moment. But when I was going, in the end I gave up. I thought, don't give guys your phone number just like that. If they're really interested in dating you, fine, but most of them are not going to be interested in that. They're just going to be in sex. But at the club, I like kissing guys, so I decided from now on that basically, after the last time I gave my phone number, which was to an Indian guy, and I found he had a woman on his phone anyway, so he probably had his heart for her anyway. I don't know who she was, or at least I doubt she's even in this country, but anyway, so, he was the guy who was kissing me for an hour or more in the club. I just basically thought, I don't want to give my number out like that. If a guy's really interested in me, he can actually properly talk to me about dating, not just go home to my place and all that type of rubbish, or not, as the case might be. So now if I go clubbing, I just want to go dancing, have a great time, kiss some guys and come home and not worry about any of those guys in a relationship, because really the majority are not going to be suitable for a relationship, and so unless someone happens to be there with their friends, because the club that I go to, some people do go with their friends. They're in a group of friends. They're not actually going there to pick someone up. Eddie, give your number, get a certain body part sent to you. Eddie, what are you like? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I've I have given my number to guys, but I mean, I can just block them. I can just, if you give your number to a guy, it's not the end of the world. It's a phone number. I use my phone for business and friends. So at the end of the day, my phone number's all over the internet anyway. Cannot deny it can happen. Give your number to get a certain body part sent to you. Well, I don't think people would actually send body parts through the post, if that's what you mean. But I'm saying that most people that ask you for your number actually want sex. That's the whole point. They're asking you for your number. Let's be right about it. But with me, I'm asexual, and I give my number out to certain guys because I'm looking for a relationship, because I'm looking to date someone, because I'm looking to get to know them. Because sometimes, when you meet someone, who knows, it might be the right person for you. It's highly unlikely, but it depends on the circumstances as well. I have to set the scene, right? This person said if someone random does that to you in the street, it's random in the street and they don't know you, it's likely to be for sex. But like I said, I mean, I gave that Indian guy my phone number, and I met him in the supermarket because I'm outgoing, I'm extroverted, and I genuinely want to find someone for a relationship. And you never know what could happen. I'm not just totally negative and everyone's out to get me, everyone's bad. Sometimes the majority of people are out for sex, right? There's no two ways about it. You've got to manage your safety well. You've got to care about yourself. You've got to put yourself first. Don't go meeting up with these people that you've never met before in your life in private places. And some guys anyway, Eddie, yes, a lot of guys are into sex, a lot of guys are into hooking up, and that's why they ask you for your phone number. But we have to say that there is context there. So this person said randomly in the streets, yeah, but I mean, I did it to a guy. I don't want sex with him, but I know I'm kind of different to most asexuals, wouldn't do that. But you know what I mean? I'm just be me, because at the end of the day I can block them. I can, I'm not going to invite them back to my place. It's just probably not the best thing to do most of the time, but not necessarily recommended. But sometimes in life, it's not in the streets. Sometimes in life you'll go to a business seminar, you'll go to a cookery class, you'll go somewhere that maybe there's some random person that turns up there. because I think the title, which I titled to this video, is what if some random person asks you for your phone number? In my group, they specifically said in the street. Now, if it's in the street, the majority of time they'll be after sex because they just see you as a sexual attraction object, because that's all they see, the aesthetics of you. They don't know your personality, right? But if it's some random person, as in maybe it's someone that you've just, like I said, you've gone out somewhere and you got talking to someone, even if it's just a little bit, and they wanted your number, that type of thing. Usually it's all to do with sexual attraction. There's no two ways about it. But there might be the odd person where, you've given your phone number to someone and it actually does develop into a friendship or more. There are instances that does happen. And if everyone in the world never gave their phone number to anyone else, it would no one would actually get to speak to anyone, would they? But it's usually to do with the fact that they want to have sex with you. So it's highly not usually recommended to do around giving your number out to random guys on the streets, because they've probably been just looking at you for a sexual object and they want to have sex with you in the main, right? But I mean, I'm the type of person that believes that some things random do happen sometimes that do work out in your favor. And for me, it's like if I go to a business seminar, I collect business cards of people who are quite random. I don't know them, but I'm in a business and I collect business cards. So I think you've got to give it a bit of context as well. You've got to say, okay, if some random person asks you for your phone number, what is the situation? Is it in the street, in which case it's much more likely to be sex? Is it they've joined a cookery class or something and you happen to be in the same class as them? So, they might be random to you, as in you don't really know them, but, they might have just, got on well in the cookery class with you, or realised that you're very beautiful. I mean, a lot of it is aesthetics. I'm not going to lie to you, but even asexuals, some asexuals have aesthetic attraction. I have aesthetic attraction, and, but maybe you do, you could go to a job interview, for example, and you do those group activities, right? And you've got random people that you don't even know who they are until you've spent like the day or a few hours with them doing activity. I guess they're not so random anymore, but they ask you for your phone number because they thought you're great to work with. And maybe, you belong to the same company and stuff like this, and they want to keep in touch with you. And like I said, I go to business events, so I'm kind of used to that mentality of giving out my business card. But obviously, some random dude asked me in the street, it's not exactly business, but I used to give them my business card anyway, because it kind of like, well, I'm a business, right? It kind of like just puts a bit of business in there. Do you know what I mean? So it's not totally like personal. So I think you've got to ask yourself what circumstances are in as well, because, there might be someone that comes into your life and you just never actually got their number and you're like, damn, I wish I had. There are people, there's even people in newspapers sometimes. They're like, I met this person and maybe they had a fall in the street or something and they wish they'd asked someone for their phone number because, they just wanted to keep in touch as friends, that type of thing. So you've really got to give the whole thing some context. But in general, obviously if some random person asks you for your number in the street, it's usually for sex. That's pretty much why it would happen, unless you got talking for some random thing in the streets. Maybe you were at a bus stop, or you know what I mean? Some people start talking at bus stops and they have a lot in common with that person. All of a sudden you'll find that they're talking about scuba diving or something. It's like, oh my gosh, I went scuba diving like last year in like Australia or something. And then it's like, oh yeah, I really like that. And I love the great outdoors. And it's like, my God, I love hiking too. And do you know what I mean? That could be a random person at the bus station. It could be a random person at the train station asking you for your number. So obviously I don't want anything to happen. So safety is a must. And, like I said, you don't just go and meet someone that you're giving your phone number to. And you have to understand that probably 99% of people doing that will be for sex if it's in the street specifically. But just give the whole thing some context, because I know some people don't like anyone approaching them, any random person approaching them in any single scenario. Well, if you're going to be dating and you're going to be doing asexual dating, for example, you're going to be putting yourself out there. You're going to have to put yourself in positions and spaces where you are talking to random people, because everyone's a stranger until you actually get to know them. You know what I mean? So everyone's a stranger. That's how you make friends. You talk to strangers, basically, you know? I wish there was more asexuals that would actually get each other's numbers and agree times to call and stuff like that. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it would make the dating scene a lot easier sometimes. Like, sometimes I meet a guy online in this country. You know, I can't really be with someone in another country, but it'd be nice if, like, we actually do video chat occasionally, or phoning on the phone if we live in the UK together, so you can pick up the phone, you know. Obviously I'm really busy at the moment, like I'm mega busy at the moment this week and stuff, but you know, like I mean, most of the time I just, you know, like Skype or phone my best friends. That's it. I don't really, you know, do that with any other people really, because I don't have the time. And also, like, you know, I haven't got anyone that's interested in me romantically that's actually shown consistent interest in that way. Do you know what I mean? But you know, I think it's a very much easier way to get used to someone quicker, and to know if they're actually maybe a romantic match for you, for example, or queer platonic match, if you actually get on them in phone or video chat sometimes. You know, I have to schedule stuff like that in. I can't just do it randomly. But you know what I'm saying, it's you know, like Skype dating. I've said about Skype dating before, and it includes if you do get some random person in the street coming up to you, I'm telling you, they are more likely wanting sex out of you. So you say no unless you really want to say otherwise, but just know that that path usually leads to, most of the time, not very goodness, because you know, if you don't want sex and they do, then it's not going to work out usually. But you know, being on the dating scene, you know, always Skype date someone. There's always Skype dating. Sometimes when I talk to someone, it's like, well, I'd rather just get on a call or a video chat with you in like a few days or a week's time to actually just properly spend time with you and get to know each other. Because I think sometimes on the internet you can't properly, with messaging it's great, but you can't properly get to know someone. Messages can be misconstrued. Messages can seem like, some can seem really warm and friendly and loving, the next minute they can seem really off-putting. Do you know what I mean? By the language someone uses, or maybe they're having a hard day or something, you know. And it's just really, you know, not great sometimes. So it's always quite good. But I do like messaging as well. I mean, I got a guy in ASAP from the UK, and he's really nice to talk to. Really nice to talk to. He messaged me again today, and he's a writer too, and he's just a really lovely person. I think it's very good quality guy, you know. He's not he's on the aromantic spectrum, not the heteromantic spectrum. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's you know, it's nice to message, don't get me wrong, but you know, if you really like someone, I think it's good to just actually get on the video with them or phone, you know what I mean? Make things happen, make it happen. So many people live in fear that they don't live their dreams, and so many people live in fear that you never get anything done in your life. You know, there's one guy that I remember that I saw in London. You know, when I was a speaker at the UK Asexuality conference, on the tube there was this guy who was so gorgeous, so beautiful. He was really young, like mustn't have been more than his early 20s, and he was the guy that I could tell was attracted to me, because he was like hovering around me. I felt like he was protecting me. And then he moved, so beautiful, he moved off the tube, you know, off the tube, just for me to get off. He didn't need to do that. That's not what people do usually. They don't just get off a tube. You know, he didn't need to, really. I mean, I could have gone round him. It wasn't that crowded. Do you know what I mean? If it had been hugely crowded, I can understand it wasn't that crowded. And I basically, you know, I made a comment about, you know, being so sweet or something. And he was like so shocked in a beautiful way. And I wished, a lot of the time, I'd given him my number or got his number, because he was so beautiful. Like, not just in looks, but to do that in personality. He was a young guy, but really had some manners. And I could feel he wanted to protect me. By the way, he was like really next to me, like hovering around me. And he was just, I could feel that he really liked me, and I wished, like when I look back on it, I think I wished he probably would have probably wanted marriage, maybe even kids, probably been sexual, so it'd probably be no good anyway. But I don't know, do I? I will never know because I wasn't thinking at the time to give him my number. But I'm sure if I'd have given him my card as they got off the tube, then he would have taken it. He might have even contacted me. But I will never know. So I look at things positively. I don't look at everyone's out to get me, everyone's out to be nasty, everyone's, just out of sex. I don't look at everyone in the world like that. I know there's a lot of sexuals that are like that. I know the majority are like that. I know there's some not good people in the world. But sometimes we miss opportunities in life because we're too scared to do anything. Right? There's always the block button. You can block them on your phone. You can block them from social media. You can refuse to see them. You can send them a text and say, I've changed my mind. You always have the right to change your mind. So you can do this. So I think it very much depends on what context I'm in. Ace Man Richard Howard. Hello, Richard. Nice to see you. Absolutely lovely to see you. Lots of love. Thank you for the donation again. I really appreciate it. Thank you for this channel. Really appreciate it. So I think you very much have to give the whole thing some context as to where the person, who's random person, if you like, is actually asking you for your phone number. Is it the street, in which case it's highly likely they're wanting to have sex with you? Is it in a club? Usually it's highly likely they want to have sex with you. But again, it depends. If they're with their friends and they have just seen you from afar and they've seen that you're enthusiastic, they've seen that you're lively and bubbly, and something caught their eye about you. Like you were just so magical in the moment. They just wanted to get your number. It does happen, Thank you, Richard. And so, I think I always believe a life lived in fear is a life half lived, right? The world's a very scary place, but there's a lot of good people in the world. There's a lot of bad, but there's a lot of good. And we have to remember that most of the time when we meet people, they're all random strangers to us, So I think we have to proceed with caution. We have to understand that, yes, if someone randomly comes up to us, they haven't had any interaction with us and just asks us for our phone number based on our looks, they just 9 times out of 10, probably 9.99999 out of 10, want sex with you, to be perfectly frank with you. But, it all depends on the context, I've had people asking for my phone number when I've been in my old job. And again, they are sexually attracted to me. They do like sex with me. That's their ideal. So I'm not going to lie and make it out to be something it's not. Most of the time it will be they want sex with you. But it's going to be times when something like that will work out. Like it might mean that you get on and be friends, or it might mean that they introduce you to someone else, or it might mean it's a business thing, So I think you've got to actually put this question into complete context of the environment you're in, the situation you're in, the people around you, the people around them, the way they did it. It has to have context. It really has to have context. Like I had some guy in the club asking me for my phone number that I definitely wasn't going to give him. And he just kept going on. And I got in the taxi and went home. And he said to me, oh, I'm not going to have sex. But of course he was interested in sex. But he said, oh, you just got such a bubbly, nice personality. I still want to hang out with you. But I didn't. He was too old for me. I'm not interested. He was foreign, but I'm not interested in older foreign guys. I don't want him too close to me. I could hold his hands to dance, like in front. But that was it. I'm not interested in older guys. I'm just not attracted to them. It just creeps me out more. If I had some young guy asking me for my phone number, or I had some older guy or guy that I considered too old for me, that would creep me out more than the younger guy asking me for my phone number. But a lot of the time now, I don't go to the club with the expectation of getting a relationship anymore. I go to the club with the expectation that I'll just go home, have a dance, have some kisses, and go home, and not worry about that anymore, because I realise that most of those guys are just after sex, and it is weird if some random stranger approaches you for your phone number. in the street, for example, in the example I gave you at the beginning, because they're just doing it based on looks most of the time, but they might have overheard you having a conversation with someone where you're just so bubbly, so lively. They might have heard you on the phone talk about something. You never actually know. So I'd say in the majority of cases they're after sex. Don't bother giving you a phone number. There's no point, because unless you're an asexual that really doesn't mind having sex, there's no point. Obviously there's a safety aspect. You shouldn't really just give your phone number out to anyone and everyone, random strangers. I mean, I use my phone for business, so everyone's got it anyway. It's easy to find. But I have it on silent nearly the whole time, so no one can speak to me unless I switch it off a lot of the time. So unless someone leaves a message, or unless someone happens to catch me at the right time, I don't use it anyway. I only use it to phone out most of the time. So I just have it on silent, and the people that I need to phone back, I'll phone back. That's why I prefer to put my mobile number. I think it's always better, if you are going to give your number out, do not give a landline out. Unless you've got on the internet for business and you have to, don't give a landline out. Only give a mobile out, because you can block them, switch it off, change phone numbers if you need to, right? It's a safety thing. So don't ever give them your landline, these random people. Just don't do it. Don't ever do that. When they're random, when you've just met them, it's not good. So, but with obviously a mobile, you can do lots of different stuff. And like I said, I just keep mine on silent the whole time, or switched off. So people can just ring me 20 times a day, and even my best female friend, she finds it hard to get hold of me half the time, because she's always phoning me when I'm usually, I go to sleep in the morning. I work through the night, so she's phoning me in the morning. I'm usually I'm asleep morning till late afternoon. Well, I usually sleep it's after 4 usually, 4 a.m. So I'm usually asleep when she phones at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I'm usually asleep then. That's my sleep time till midday or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So even she finds it hard to get a hold of me. So, but the people that actually do care about you will do that. And another thing, if you do give your phone number to a guy at all, if he is only messaging you to do with anything to do with physical stuff, going over to his place, sex, that she usually doesn't blatantly say stuff like that. If it's anything to do with going over his place or anything like that, you just don't do it. These people are after sex, and they might do stuff to you that you don't want to be done to you. Do you know what I mean? So you don't do anything like that. Overall, it's best, to not give your phone number out to strangers, random strangers in the street. Overall, it's best not to. But, as I'm an extroverted asexual, and I do believe I can look after myself pretty well, and also, there's ways of stopping them, and you can be in a public place, I think, it's possible that I would give my phone number out to some guys, but the majority of the time I don't now, because obviously I have learned that they are pretty much after sex, and you don't want to be with someone like that anyway. Ace Man Richard Howard, I give them my Google Hangouts number. I don't use it, only for my other channel. That's a good one, Richard. So you did give your number out as well. Yeah, I actually gave my Google Hangout on but I use that a lot for the email address that's connected with that. I use a lot, so I block them on Google, because you can block them on Google Hangouts. I mean, most of the time I don't give my phone number out. I give them, if I like them connecting with me on Facebook, because if they don't want to connect with me on Facebook, there's something dodgy about them usually, because you can find out everything about them on Facebook usually. So a lot of the time, if they want to speak to me, a lot of the time they'll have to. But then, some people I'd rather give my phone number out to, and not my Facebook, because I don't want them knowing that much about me yet, because I don't know them and they might be horrible. So giving my phone number out, I can just block them on there, and they don't know anything about me. They can't find me they don't even know I'm on social media. So with me, it depends. Sometimes I prefer to give my Facebook out. Sometimes I, would prefer to give my phone number out, because I'm like, well, what does it matter? I can just block them. You know what I mean? I block them. Don't answer it, block them. It's you block them, that's it. You've blocked them. They can't get hold of you any other way unless they have your social media. So sometimes it's better just to give your phone number out. you know, because it's not connected. Well, it might be connected if they bothered to research it, but most people that are after sex are not going to bother to research you. You know, like if you've blocked them and they're not hearing back from you, they'll probably give up, you know. But I gave my Google Hangout to I gave my Google Hangout to someone off sexual, well, not asexual, traditional sexual dating site on mingle2.com a while ago, and he went to my Google Hangout and he was just ridiculous. He didn't even barely say anything. He like said a couple of sentences and I'm like, well, is this all you're going to talk about? Basically, you're not what I'm looking for. And I just blocked him. But there was actually one guy who found me on Facebook when I never even gave him my Facebook. From Mingle. And I'm like, wow, all these guys that can't even be asked to bother to look for me on Facebook, they say they're so romantically interested in me or make out they're really interested in me. And a guy who's off a different different site can find me without me even telling him what my name is on there. All my details, my username, then it's kind of like, well, anyone can pretty much find me if they get off their backside and look. It's like not difficult. So you know what I mean? It just shows you. But yeah, I do, I sometimes I give my number out because I'm like, if I meet some really good, gorgeous guy in a club, I might give my number out, but then I'm just probably, I'm going to know that he's after sex. And then I do start getting really nervous and I'm like, oh, probably we shouldn't give my number out. And if he does message me, I'll know it'll be after sex, really, because that's usually what those type of guys like. But, one day you're going to find someone probably that if they're not asexual, will ask for your phone number. Do you know what I mean? And it's, it's up to you. If you asexual doesn't mind having sex, maybe in the future, but you just got to know these people are normally players. They're not just a person who wants sex in a relationship. They want sex with a lot of people, all different people. So they're likely to be a player. You've got two options with the player. You either play the game with them or you get out of the game and don't waste your life, time, energy or effort on these people. Preferably the latter is much better than the former. It's much better. Don't play the game because it's a waste of time unless you've got time to waste. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's much better to just like let them go. But because I know how difficult it is because I'm a romantic asexual. I do still think about having a relationship. It'd be nice, it'd be absolutely wonderful if I met a lovely asexual guy for me in the UK who didn't want sex, didn't want marriage, didn't want kids, is Indian preferably, or at least foreign, but I really want an Indian guy, but who's into kissing as much as I am. I think I'm getting closer to finding that guy. But, it's kind of hard, because it's like, I need a guy who wants to talk as much as I do. I need a guy who's like going to be really into like communication at a high level, keeping in contact, asking how each other's day's going, really having a conversation. Like some guys I've talked to lately, they've been really good because we've got into like conversation and stuff. Like the guy on ASAP at the moment, we're having a lovely conversation. There's no romance from that person, right? But which makes it change. But, so he's just a really nice person to talk to. I really like speaking to him because we have stuff in common and the conversation is just flowing backwards and forwards. Do you know what I mean? But he's an asexual guy, And, sometimes, if it's an asexual guy, I don't mind them having my phone number, if they're in the UK as well, because it's kind of nice, like if they wanted to have a phone. I think you've got to, if you're ever going to can be serious about an asexual relationship, you've got to get on the phone with these people. You've got to get on video chat. And so many asexuals are scared to do that. And it's like, at the end of the day, you could save yourself a lot of bother because you could find out in a few hours conversation or a video chat whether it actually got any potential of being suitable for you in a friend or relationship, But it is very annoying when you get like sexuals that are really eager to connect with you because they want sex with you, basically. And then you get asexuals that kind of like, I'm not bothered if I speak to the person or not. And it's like if sex is not involved, getting into a relationship or pursuing a relationship doesn't seem so important to those people who are asexual. I don't understand that. It's like, come on, companionship is just as important as going after someone for sex, going after someone for companionship, going after someone for pure love. pursuing someone for pure love, pursuing someone because you love their personality, why aren't there more asexuals doing that? Why aren't they saying it shouldn't just be about, oh, I'll pursue the person because I'm sexually interested in them, which most sexuals is that's why they pursue. Why can't we have the same enthusiasm from a lot more asexuals? And like, yeah, we're really interested in being in a relationship with that person. I want to message them. I'll message them in the morning. I'm thinking about you. Send a little love heart or something. You know what I mean? And it's not difficult. Eddie, my life for the better. Change my life for the better. Yes, Eddie. It's really important. I'm so glad that you're with an asexual girl, But I really wished more asexuals were so much more enthusiastic about communication, keeping in touch, and pursuing companionship relationship, pursuing a romantic relationship, pursuing a personality-driven, intelligent-driven relationship. Why aren't there more asexuals thinking, God, I actually, I'd like a partner in my life. I'm not sexual. I'm asexual. I'm not a sexual person. I'm asexual, right? And I actually want to pursue someone because I want a loving, committed relationship with them that's romantic, or even platonic companionship. And I want to spend more time with this person. I want to get to know them, their hobbies, their interests, how their mind works, where they like going, what different types of hobbies they have, like when this lockdown completely is over and everything's safe again, where would I like to go with them on a date? Maybe in the meantime, let's Skype date, let's have some food together, let's dress up like we're actually on a date or something, or let's just chill out and have a chilled out date, right? Why aren't more asexuals doing this type of thing? Why is it that people who are asexual, a lot of asexuals, just seem to want to kind of like be so laid back about, oh, I'm not bothered if I get into a relationship or not. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I'm really feeling a bit lonely. I'd love to be with someone. But it's kind of like no one's making it happen a lot of the time. There are a few of us that really, really want a relationship. And when you reach out and talk to someone, a lot of the time they stop talking to you, which I can understand to a certain extent if you're in another country, because it's kind of like there's no hope of having a relationship very easily unless you want a long distance relationship. With me, I don't want a long distance relationship. So I have to say that to the person. I have to ask them, approach them and ask them, are they a mover or not? And if they're not a mover, then a lot of the time I am actually looking for a relationship, not just a person to chat to online, so that is a bit difficult. But but in the UK, for example, like because I live in the UK, I can make asexual friends to come to my meetups and stuff. There's people I could see in person. So, it's more worthwhile doing, I think, in your own country. But you have to willing to travel sometimes or get people to come to you. I get people to come to me usually. So I just think, it's and obviously you might one day go to an asexuality conference and there might be a random asexual there who asks you for your phone number. Now, you might have noticed in this title, what if a random person asks you for your phone number? Did I actually say in the title, what happens if a random sexual person asks you your phone number? You could actually have a scenario where you go to a conference or you go to an asexual meetup and there's random people there because you don't know them. And one of them asks you for your phone number because they're interested in you. They want to see you or speak to you more. So we must give this question context when we're asking, and we must ask what's happening in front of us. Like in my UK dating group, which is the one that was asking the question originally about what would you do if some random stranger walked up to you in the street, I think the majority of time, if it's in the street, the majority of time those people are after sex if it's just some random passing by, right? But like I said, there are opportunities everywhere. I look back and the guy, like from the UK Asexuality conference, when I went on the tube, and that guy actually moved back for me, and he was such a beautiful foreign guy. I don't necessarily think he was Indian. He might have been, but he was definitely sort of from one of those like Indian. I don't know. He might have been Middle Eastern, or he's there. But he was so beautiful, not just in his looks, but in his personality. But I never asked him for his phone number. I never even thought about it at the time. Yeah, but I could have handed him my card. Who knows? He might have rang me. He might have been the guy for me. You never know. Obviously, clearly he's not, because it never happened. But what I'm saying is sometimes in life, if we don't take any chances and any risks, we do nothing and get nowhere. Ace Man Richard Howe, with me, I had a girlfriend that wanted sex so much, but then I was not out. I did not know what asexual was then. Yeah, exactly, Richard. I mean, personally, I don't want to be with a sexual guy unless he could live without sex. And it's highly, highly unlikely. I mean, obviously, Eddie is, because Eddie is not asexual and Eddie's with an asexual girlfriend. So it is possible. But I mean, I would consider lately more being with someone on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. But I do find a lot of the time it's just that person's too sexual for me. And so I'm kind of a bit stuck like that. Eddie, I'm the best, I know. But I don't want to be with a guy who's high sexual. But I mean, I have dated sexuals and haven't had sex with them. Luna, not being afraid to communicate is so important. Great point. Everything crisped up for me when I started to not care anymore about my asexuality. Embrace it, Ace, so she'll be so much happier. Oh, thank you, Luna. I think that's a really, really nice, and I'm glad you like my point. Yeah, because it's, I think it's so important that I hear, kind of like two sides to the asexual coin, as it were, with dating and relationships. I hear a lot of asexuals like really kind of upset and in pain that they're feeling lonely. They want someone to be in a relationship with them. And then I hear the other side, whereas, people just either don't bother messaging or they don't keep messaging up. Like I tell guys, right, who are interested in me a bit more than a friend, and I know for definite interest in being a bit more than a friend, I tell them, I say, look, I'm really, really busy with my work. I'm not online all the time, right? But if you send me a message, I'll reply when I can. Because that's just the way life is. I'm not going to sit there on the phone every 5 minutes, and I can't do it. I'm so busy. I've got a really hectic schedule. I mean, that's why I was late coming on this stream by like 2 hours tonight. I only ate my food at like 1 a.m. this morning. You know what I mean? I'm really, really busy. I wasn't actually feeling great earlier as well. So, a guy has got to understand and how it works and how any relationship should work. If you actually get into a flow with things, or even a potential relationship, you message people as and when you can. Like if someone's going to work, you can send them a message. So when they get up to go to work, they can see your message. They don't have to necessarily respond then if they're busy going to work. They can just say, oh, text you later or something. And this is the way things work in life. It should be like respond when you can to messages. Do you know what I mean? And it should be backwards and forwards conversation, trying to get to know someone. And I think like you have to be in life not scared to not do things and get out of your comfort zone, because sometimes the greatest opportunities come from getting out of my comfort zone. I know this year I've got to get even more out of my comfort zone. I'm getting out of my comfort zone so much in other ways at the moment, but I've got to do things in major ways. I'm a bit scared of doing, quite frankly, but it's got to be done, hasn't it? I like to push through my own boundaries, push through my own fears. It's kind of hard sometimes, especially when I still have an anxious personality sometimes, because I do still have some anxiety. That can be difficult. But I think it's very, very important that you do, you do actually put yourself out there. I mean, if I'm going to a club, I have to know that the majority of people in that nightclub are sexual. But the club I go to, actually, there's lesbians that go there. There's gay guys that go there. Lesbians. And the good thing about my club, right? I say my club because it's the only one I really go to that's got younger foreign guys. That's why I go there. Not at the moment, because obviously we can't, because it's unsafe and they're shut down. But, when I go there, there's a mixture of all different types of sexualities. There's gay guys, they openly kiss on the dance floor. They openly, snog. There's lesbians that snog each other against walls and stuff for ages, that kiss, that really, and there's people that are heterosexual and there's asexual me. So there's actually quite a lot of LGBT people at the club I go to. Do you know what I mean? And so I feel it's kind of really nice like that, because it's like guys can kiss in front of everyone, women can kiss in front of everyone, I can snog in front of everyone. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like really nice like that. There's no nastiness there. Everyone's kind of welcome. Everyone's like just there to enjoy themselves, regardless of their sexual orientation. I think that's absolutely wonderful. So, when you go out to clubs sometimes, the way you do actually pursue a relationship is usually giving your phone number and stuff. You've got to accept, though, that a lot of the time they'll be after sex, unfortunately. But I do think, I do think and wish that the more people in the asexual community would be actively pursuing each other for the pure simple fact that, God, I want to be with this person because they've got such a gorgeous personality, or I'm interested in knowing more about this person because they seem like they've got a beautiful personality. That's someone I might want in my life in the future because there's just something about them that seems to just be glowing. Or, you just got so much in common with someone that you just really feel like you need to carry on the conversation with them, This is how we should be as asexuals, not just like, oh, well, I've given up, or, oh, well, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, or I've given up now. If a lot of the time that's coming from a place of giving up on sexuals, or it's because that you don't have people living near you, in which case you either have to find a mover or move yourself. So there are asexuals that don't want to stay in their own country, that do want to move. There's some asexuals that don't want to stay in their part of their country. They want to move. So just because that person doesn't actually live directly near you doesn't mean to say they won't move. I personally don't like long distance relationships outside my own country. I'll be willing to have one if it was somewhere I could actually get to see the person in my own country, like somewhere I liked going, London, for example. So I'd be willing to do something like that. But again, eventually, it's got to be discussed at the beginning. Someone would need to move. But wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to be pursued? And I've got this guy and he's so interested in me because he just loves my personality and he just can't get enough of me. And he's just like, we're like got our own work and our own hobbies and our own interests, but like he's messaging me and saying, how his morning is. And, because like the thing I like about the guy on ASAP, right, the British guy I've been talking to, is that he openly shares his life when he's talking in his messages. It's really beautiful, like he doesn't message me every single day, but he and there's no romantic inclination there as far as I can tell. But what I love about him is he's very, very open about his feelings. He says stuff he's scared of, and he shares a passion of writing, and he's really supportive in his wording. Like when I talk about my writing, he's like, oh, because my ambition is to be a writer full time and get paid a full-time living for it, and so because he was asking me like, what would I actually like do? I said, what's my long-term goal? And I said, I really do want to be a writer full-time, make a full-time living at it, and be a writer 24/7, 365 days a year, because it's my passion. I love it, and I actually love writing books for asexuals because that's my second passion. So he was talking to me, and he's like, oh, like one day, everything might just align for you and everything, because I was talking about that and some other stuff, and I just thought that's so beautiful. It's so supportive, so warm, and he like, he doesn't hold things back. There's another person I started talking to recently, and he was talking to me quite a lot, and we were getting on well, and then it's kind of like the way he's speaking to me now, it's a bit more like a mate, and it's like, it's like you're talking to me someone I've just randomly met down the pub. Actually, he's talking to me like we haven't really spoke that much. And I find that weird, to go from someone who's very chatty, very kind of like interested, we were talking, to then someone who speaks like I am a random stranger down the pub. That is very weird when people do that. It's like, why do that? If you're not interested, just say you're not interested. Or, how can you change so suddenly? It's weird. But the guy on ASAP, like on text, our text messages seem to be getting longer to each other, and we kind of like have like 5 different points, and they're answering my questions, I'm answering theirs, and the 5 different points. It's like point 1 is with that person's point, and like you go down like that, and it's really nice. I wasn't sure if they was going to carry on messaging me, but they have, so that's really nice, because I just think there's something nice about this person. They're into developing themselves, I think, as well, and living healthy lifestyle if they can, and positivity. So I really do appreciate that about them. Hello, if you happen to be watching. So, I think it's just wonderful, and I like the fact he opens up and he doesn't hold anything back, I think it would be nice if I found someone of a romantic nature who's got some of those, really good quality traits. Really, really. But obviously, I like a bit more consistently. I like someone in a romantic sense to contact me like pretty much every day, even if I can't speak to them directly every day. Like message me, and then I can reply when I can. If I say to a guy, I reply when I can, and they just don't bother because it's like if I'm not online, they're not going to speak to me. I don't want that type of person because at the end of the day, busy lives are busy, right? There'll be times when you should actually be able to speak to each other online, and there's times when you're not going to be able to. Luna, when I started to communicate on my terms, it really helped weed them out. It's great, Luna. Took me so long to figure out that those who resort to talking about the physical wanted sex. Ace moment. Yes, Luna. You are so right. And I don't know if you've seen any of my recent videos. So I've actually had some asexual guys like that as well. There was one who is in Indian, and as soon as I stopped talking about more sexual stuff, because he was on the more sexual end of the spectrum, he was like, I don't even know if he's actually asexual. I kind of think he was more penetration repulsed, heterosexual than asexual. But when he stopped talking to, basically when I said to him, I said, well, it's great and everything, but I don't mind some sexual talk to a certain extent. But I mean, I'm not a textbook grey A. Like, I don't experience any sexual attraction myself. I just have grey areas in the way I like to kiss. So a lot of the time, asexuals on the more sexual end of the spectrum are too sexual for me. And I don't know if I could be with someone on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum because I have some sexual behaviour, and especially in the way I like to kiss. So I've considered that more lately because I think maybe that might work for me. But I don't like nudity or anything, you know what I mean? And most of those type of people do, which is fair enough. It's just I'm not into that. It's not comfortable for me. I don't like it. And I don't really want to be with guys looking at porn and stuff as well. I mean, I know some asexuals do it. Personally, I just don't like that. It's pretty, for me, I think it's disgusting personally. But I know people that I'm friends with that do stuff like that, right? On Facebook, for example. But, I just personally don't. I find it grotesque and disgusting, and especially if you're in a partnership. Haven't seen those ones yet. No, we'll check them out. Have seen many of your vids. I'm similar to you in being more extrovert and romantic. Thanks for being here. Oh, Luna, it's lovely. It's really nice you come on, actually. I love it when people come and chat. It's really nice. I'm glad that you like the videos. Oh, yeah, I'm extrovert. Yeah, being extrovert is very different, isn't it, in the asexual community? It's very, very different, and we are going to be more likely to approach people, I think, but we need someone to actually give us it back. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're like, am I just being extroverted with myself and romantic with myself? I don't mind, but, it would be nice to have an extra person sometimes. Ace Man Richard Howard. I talked to someone ASAP and asked them where they were on the spectrum, and they did not know what I was talking about. No, some of the people on ASAP Richard are not asexual. If they say they're confused, a lot of the time they're not asexual. And if they don't know what you're talking about the spectrum, the majority of them won't be asexual. That's one of the questions I ask for people to come into my groups. And that weeds out a lot of the people that aren't asexual trying to apply to get in my no sex dating groups and things like that. Because a lot of them are sexual. So a lot of them on ASAP say that confused. Unless they put in their bio, I'm just new to asexuality. I'm not really sure where I fall on the spectrum, that type of thing. That's different. But the ones that are on there, a lot of the ones on ASAP that put confused, they mean they're sexual, basically, because they're like, I'm confused because I don't know what this app is, but I'll just have a go anyway. There's actually one guy who's put heterosexual on there, which I respect more for actually being honest. But yeah, so it's a very good question, Richard. Just ask away. That's what I do. It's a very good question. Where do you fall in the asexual spectrum? And they don't know what you're talking about, and 9 times out of 10 they aren't asexual. I mean, there might be a few asexuals that have never heard of the asexuality spectrum, but they would probably gather, they would not probably try to guess what you're talking about. They'd probably say something like, well, I don't know, I feel this and I feel that, but I don't like sex. They make it clear that they are asexual in some way, even if they don't know what the spectrum is. But But yeah, the majority, there's quite a lot on ASAP that and I, as soon as I see them, I'm just like, no. I mean, there's still, they've done updates to make it more secure, but there's still some fake accounts on there. I get them. I've still had them. And a guy, he's telling you to watch his YouTube links. He's trying to sell you something actually, and he's confused. He's not. He's not on there for asexual reasons. He's on there to like sell you some of his marketing products. There's nothing wrong with asexuals being into marketing, but this guy's clearly just on there. He's a forex trader. You'll know what I mean, probably, if you've seen him on there. And he just basically says, oh, I need you to watch this YouTube video. It's like, no, I'm not going to watch your YouTube video. I don't know you, and I know it's going to be to sell me something. So bye. And, it's not like it's not like you're actually asexual and going to share an asexual video because you give a damn about us. It's just because you want to be on there to sell your products. I don't mind people I don't mind people who've got products for asexuals. Genuine products with people who genuinely care about asexuals, but just selling something that's got nothing to do with asexuality, and they don't give a toss about us, basically. They're just on there to sell their own stuff. It's disgusting. But there you go. Some people are like this, but there's still beautiful people in the world, people. We must remember there's still beautiful people in the world who do care, So good for you, Richard, because you do not want to get conned by these people. There are a lot of people out there that are not honest, unfortunately. But we mustn't just dwell on this. We must know that there's good people out there as well. And there's opportunities that are around us everywhere, and sometimes we have to take some calculated, safe as possible risks in order to change our own circumstances, It's very, very important, and going back to the guy on ASAP, he's good in the sense that he actually expresses his feelings and emotions. He's not afraid to say what he's afraid of. He's not afraid to talk about anything and everything. It's really good. And I was really disappointed with another guy who I thought was going to talk about anything and everything. It's like, all right, well, we're just not speaking anymore. Maybe he's decided that I'm not his girl or something. I'm not his person. I mean, we weren't in a relationship or going to be in a relationship anyway, because I don't know the person very much. But do you know what I mean? I know that they liked me, were interested in me romantically, but it's like, well, you can't be that interested in me. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's good in a way that you find out sooner rather than later that some of these people, the ones that get flaky, the ones that just don't keep anything up, like, in terms of a conversation, that, I get really busy, but I will make time, like, for someone who's, like, I could possibly have a relationship with. I will make time for someone like that if I think they're worth it and that they think I'm worth it, I will message people back. But I mean, obviously I get emails and people from people that are not looking for a relationship with me as well. I've still got to do my work as well. But I think it's very important, I would absolutely love more asexuals to just reach out to other asexuals, really. And if you're looking for a relationship, be like wanting to pursue someone for a romantic relationship. I just think it's so sad that most of the people that I come across are sexuals, and the reason they're pursuing is because they want sex. And it's kind of like, if you don't want sex, you don't need to pursue. Oh, I'm okay as I am. Really? Okay, so what about in 10, 20, 30 years time, 40 years time? If you're someone who wants a relationship, are you really going to be okay? If you really want a relationship and you're not someone who loves being on their own and forever and a day, and part of you really wants a relationship. You know what I mean? It's no good just saying, oh, I'm okay, and not thinking about your future at all. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And you will normally have to either move or travel for a relationship and find someone to move to you. It's just the way it is for the asexuals. If you want someone who's not into sex and who's like you. But going back to, I've met some people on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, and like I said, there's one guy, and he from India. Like I said, I think he's more penetration repulsed than actually asexual, personally. But he's, as soon as I stopped talking to him about sexual stuff, I was like, I want to get to know your personality. I want to stop talking about this now and get to know your personality. And it's like, was it within 24 hours later, he's like blocked me. So I'll speak to you tomorrow. Then I went back on his messenger and he blocked me. And it's like, well, I didn't deserve that. But if that's the way you're going to be, clearly, you're just after, how are you any better than sexual guys? You're really not. apart from you're not going to actually have sex with me, you know what I mean? It's like, how are you any better? You're not. How's that any different? I may as well just be with a sexual guy who refrains from, you know, if he could refrain from having sex, wouldn't I? So, you know what I mean? 'Cause you want to talk about sex, they want to talk about sex. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and I've had some other asexual guys like that as well. And it's like, really? Really? Is this what I'm doing? Like, how is this any different to being in actual fact? You know, some of the heterosexual guys I've been with have talked to me more about other things than some asexual guys on the more sexual end of the spectrum have. You know, they've actually talked to me about some other stuff if I really want to go and look back. Not that I really do, because I haven't got great experiences of that. But you know what I mean? They weren't talking to me about physical stuff all the time. They're actually interested in me as my personality and sharing hobbies and going out together and doing stuff. Not just talking about that. So it's kind of really weird. But then again, life is weird, isn't it? It would be boring if it wasn't weird sometimes. So yes, I think you have to ask yourself the question about the context of the sentence in this video. That if some random person asked you for your phone number on the street, you'd have to assess at the time how you felt about the situation. Know that most people are after sex. But, you know, some asexuals are not sex repulsed. Some asexuals don't mind it. I wouldn't recommend going to have sex with someone you don't know. I still wouldn't recommend that. You know, not whatever sexuality you are. You know, there's a great degree of your safety you need to think about. And you don't want to be doing that with some random stranger, not knowing if they're going to hurt you. You know, safety is the utmost importance, and you shouldn't be doing anything you don't want to do anyway. You know, and like I said, if more asexuals pursued other asexuals for people's personalities, for their humor, for their you know, beauty, just of the person they are, and just for the energy they bring to life, and you know, just for the companionship, the deepest friendship. You know, I want an asexual that's going to be my deepest ever, you know, best romantic friend. I've got two best friends who are asexual, but they're not romantic. You know, I can't be romantic with them. They're my friends. You know, so I still want another best, deepest soulmate friend, but in a romantic relationship, because obviously whoever you get into a relationship with should be your best friend as well. You know, they should be, because like, you shouldn't really be in a relationship with someone who's not your best friend in some way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll still have my other best friends. I will never ever be without them. They are beautiful best friends. They're the best friends I've ever had in my life. Do you know what I mean? They mean a lot to me. Like, if it wasn't for my asexuality, I wouldn't have such good asexual friends now. You know, they're incredible. I love them to bits. You know, I still got my best female friend as well who's not asexual. You know, I'm very grateful and thankful for every single one of them. You know, my best asexual friend, they Skyped me for 13 hours last night, helping me with some work stuff that I was finding really stressful. And I had trouble trying to learn something on my own. And they didn't know anything about it. And they stayed up more just to help me out. I mean, I've never had a best friend that does stuff like that with me before. You know, it's just incredible. You know, and my best friends, asexual friends, they do keep in touch with me regularly, you know, because they really care. Eddie told my girl she was my best friend. And for me, I only ever have one best friend. Oh, that is lovely, Eddie. That is really beautiful. Oh, Luna, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, me and my best asexual friend, we do Skype. Like, last time it was for 11 hours. So we do Skype for epic long time. But they stayed up specifically more for me this time, and we did spend hours together working on some work stuff. Actually, it's to do with my Asexualized Academy. So my Asexualized Academy at the moment, like I'm about to launch two new courses, which will be paid. You know, people will need to pay. So there's a free Asexuality Basics for Beginners course on my Asexual Academy. If you didn't know, anyone can take it. The link's below. But obviously I'll be putting courses on there that are for asexuals that I've specifically created. One course I've spent 6 months creating, and I need to launch it soon along with another similar course, right? And so at the moment on there, people, because obviously there's only been a free course on there for quite a long time, And so no one needed to actually buy anything, or no one there was nothing available for people to buy. Thanks for the thumbs up. But the only payment processor I got linked to it was PayPal, because I've used PayPal for years. But in order for people to have card payments on there, I needed a Stripe account, which may seem very obvious and easy to people who know how to use it, but I've never used it in my life. I tried to set up an account before and I didn't understand it. I just got completely lost, and I'm just like, it's just too stressful. And but I've got someone who's interested in buying one of my courses before I've officially launched it. Someone's already bought the course actually, but before I officially launched it. But I got someone else who's very interested in buying it. So I said that I'll get it finished, like the sales page and everything, by this Sunday. But I've got other skills to learn for the sales page, the full sales page I need to do. There's already one on there, but it's not the full one that I want. Explain everything in more detail about the course and testimonials and stuff like that. It hasn't got everything on there that I want yet. So I'm learning some skills about layout, how to word things as well for that specific page. There's a lot of stuff, but because I was having so much trouble with the Stripe, they stayed up for me and they helped me set up a Stripe account. So finally now people can actually pay by card on my site, which is going to be amazing. Ace Manager Howard, I took the course. If I have the money, I will do the other course when you put it up. Oh, that's great, Richard. That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the one I took 6 months over, that's a premium course, but that's Asexual Meetup Mastery. So actually, that one's actually live on the site already at the early bird price. It just hasn't been officially launched because I haven't done this proper sales page, because I want to show people more about what they're properly getting and go behind the scenes, because someone's actually already taken the course. There's a review on there already. So, and there's another course, which is how to arrange a successful online asexual meetup. That's the actual other course. But if someone buys the Asexual Meetup Mastery course at the early bird price at the moment, there's some bonuses included. And one of the bonuses included is the how to arrange a successful asexual online meetup. So you're getting 2 courses for the price of one. Actually, and at half price. The early bird price is half price, even though it's a higher price. It's a premium course, Asexual Meetup Mastery. So I'll be going up to double that price that is currently on my site. So if you're already on my site now, you'll be able to buy. I haven't done the proper sales page that shows, I'm going to do a video that shows behind the scenes, because on the sales page at the moment it just gives the main titles. It doesn't actually show the individual units within those titles. There's about 70 videos in there. It took me 6 months to actually film it, edit it, do all the work for it, handouts for it, resources, the bonuses and everything. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's a very, very good, high quality course, the Asexual Meetup Mastery. I mean, it's like no other course. It's like a live meetup I did, and you literally look over my shoulder everything I do, and it takes you through everything, me booking the venue, me actually all the scripts I use. When I say scripts, they are the way I talk to people to get people to come from miles to my meetups. People come hundreds of miles to my asexual meetups. People can't usually do that. They can't usually get people. Most of the problems that people face with asexual meetups is, one, they get nervous about doing it in the first place if they're not usually doing it. 2 is that they worry that no one will show up, which can happen to some people. If you watch my my 45-minute free talk at the Asexuality conference in 2018, you'll see there's a guy there and he says, he has problems with getting people to show up. I know how to get people to show up, to always ensure you get someone to show up. And people are some people don't, if you meet up organized, you don't know what to say, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do. So I literally go through everything: the venue, the time, best times, days, dates, what to say to people to encourage people to attend, the right things to say. I cover over 5 different platforms, how to sign up to the different platforms, how to get people to come from all different platforms to meets. There's over 5. I could have put those as individual courses. This is why it's a premium course, because I could just literally sell them, but I wanted it all together in one big course, so people wouldn't just have to pay loads of different monies for different things. So in the online one, how to arrange a successful online asexual meetup, it's got the whole 7-step system that I use for holding online meetups to make sure they're a success. So yeah, it's really in depth, but at the moment, yeah, it's not been officially launched, but that's live now. But the actual course, separately, how to arrange a successful online asexual meetup course, that hasn't actually gone live by itself, but you can get as a bonus at the moment for the asexual meetup mastery course. You can get that course as a bonus onto the other course. So for half price, it's crazy, really, really crazy. So it's really, really good. So yeah, they should be both out by the end of the month. So by Monday the 22nd, I've got to actually get them all ready for the launch, and then the actual official launch will kind of take place over a week. So yeah, by the 22nd they'll both be live. So I've got a lot of work to do. That's why I'm like, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Yeah, so because we only get the Stripe account set up, it did take hours to that watching videos, because it's not the same. It's not as easy as PayPal. It's kind of got so many things on the dashboard in Stripe, but it's just like, what's this? What's that? It's like, oh, after a while, it becomes easier. Like, oh, okay, is it that simple? But it's not simple when you don't know how to do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Richard, I think you definitely would benefit from the Asexual Meetup Master course. I know that for sure. It makes sure you're super confident and good to go, and that you take all the frustration and pain and worry out of, like, can I get people to come? How will I get people to come? Like, what will I say to them? Where can I go? What type of things can we do? All that stuff's covered, and it's just really, really good. And there's handouts and everything. It's just really, yeah, I know it's good because I make sure I do good quality stuff. So, and it's everything that I know, everything. It's like, because there's certain wording, like, for example, if I want to use ASAP to get someone to come to my meetups, I would say different words if I was talking to someone on Facebook, or different words if I was talking to someone on Asexuality, for example. Well, Asexuality and Facebook, you probably use some of the same wording, but ASAP would definitely be very different wording usually. In part, obviously the main details are still the same, but different platforms require you to talk to the people differently depending on the style of the platform. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to launching them. It'll be the first 2 courses that are like paid for courses on there, but this woman, she's really interested in getting it for herself, because she's just moved. So she was going to meetups where she lived, but now she's moved, she wants to run them herself. I'm a bit afraid of it on if people would show up, since I am an introvert. Yeah, exactly, Richard. There's things you have to, like, you'll be fine with my course. You'll know exactly what to say, but there's certain ways and things you need to say to get people to show up, and to make sure there's at least one person plus to showing up. Do you know what I mean? That's the hardest thing. But there's ways of making sure that happens. But that's the main concerns are getting people to show up, getting people to come back again, getting new people to come. It's very important as well. Like, what times are best for people to meet up? How do you actually get loads of different people together on different work schedules as well? This type of thing is very, very important. And it's like, if you're new to meetups, you can kind of like have so many different fears that you procrastinate and don't really do anything, and you have so much worry. Because if I didn't know what to do like I do now, then I know that all the fears that I would face, I'd be like, well, how do I get someone to show up? Where do I get these people from? How do I ask them without telling them to come to my meetups? How do I actually ask them? How do I actually create such a awesome feeling about my meetups that they want to come? They're like, oh, I'm really interested in that. Like, tell me more. You know what I mean? Because that's what you want. You want people who want to come to your meetups, not like people you've told, oh, I'm doing this meetup, come to it. That's not how it works. Don't do that. You know what I mean? It won't happen. Loads of people are like, oh, I'll just put it out there, and I'll be like, oh, let's, like, maybe we'll just do a meetup on Saturday, for example. How does everyone feel about that? That is not the way to organise a meetup. And that's the way people usually do it. And then they wonder why no one shows up, or usually a lot of people don't show up, or not many people show up. But I mean, it's not, you can have small meetups. Like, my meetups aren't massive. They're actually smaller, but they suit the people that come, because I actually have a lot of people come to my meetups with mental health difficulties and special needs. So that's kind of my like specialist area, and people that have got those mental health problems and special needs, they need a smaller group anyway. So it's quality over quantity. But if you can't even get anyone to show up in the first place, you can't have a meetup. Do you know what I mean? And like I get people, like I said, my best asexual friend, they travel nearly 200 miles to come to my meetups. That's before we actually became best friends because of my meetups. We were friends in my no sex dating group, but not friends. We just knew each other. I don't even think we were friends on Facebook then. We just knew each other. They run through the groups with me now, but we were just like friends on. Well, I don't think I even knew them. I sent them a dice because they collected dice, and I saw in the group they posted they like dice, so I sent them that. But it wasn't until they actually came to my meetup that we became best friends, and it was like really amazing. That's why I love asexual meetups so much, because obviously it can be very lonely, isolated. If you don't meet other asexuals, it can be very, very difficult being in this highly sexualized world and having no one in person to speak to. It's good speaking to people online, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, but it's kind of like it's out there and it's not real. It's more surreal when people are not actually in person. Like when I first held my first asexual meetup 5 years ago, it was like I want to actually speak to someone in person to make it more real, if you know what I mean. Because I know asexuals are real. Obviously, I'm real, but because most of us are kind of out of reach because we're online, it's like we're kind of out of reach of actually being in real life, in the atmosphere. Like nothing beats like in-person contact. Really, nothing beats it, right? We can probably feel it a lot at the moment because of all the social isolation. It's great, but we do need to be around people. And so, like when you meet people in person, there's just this difference, this warmth, and this reality. Like, my gosh, there's so many people like me. Like when I do my asexual meetups, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm not bothered about sex. I'm not into sex. What's that per meh?" And you're like, it all comes to life. Asexuality, the whole asexual community kind of comes to life in these people that actually are in your life that present time, in that moment, in offline world. I think there's still a great need for offline communication, especially after this is over. But obviously, like I said, at the moment I've got the asexual. If people just want to hold an online meet, I've got how to arrange a successful online asexual meetup, which has got a complete 7-step formula for making sure it's a success, that people show up, that people engage in the conversation, that that it goes really, really well. There's certain things you have to do to get that. And then if you buy the Asexual Meetup Mastery, which is a whole in-person one, you get that as a bonus at the moment. So you get the best of both worlds, in-person and online. So you can do both of them or either of them. Obviously, at the moment, like if you're still isolated in your country, which pretty much most of the world's still social isolating, social distancing, you're not really going to be doing many in-person meetups. Some of them some people are actually starting to do them like in like small groups, like with 2 meters distance if they live in very near to each other in the same sort of city or town or something. So obviously, but most of the time, it's online still at the moment. But that all your fears will be laid to rest when you get the course, because it's like shows everything that I do, and from beginning to end for a meetup, everything. So there's nothing left, no stone left unturned, as it were. And I just think, like when I met my best asexual friend, like it was after a 3-day meetup. So I have an official day of meetup, and then the people that stay in my city in a hotel or B&B, I actually meet up with them the day before and the day after usually. So I end up having like a 3-day asexual meetup, but the actual official day's one. And my best friend, who wasn't my best friend until that time, we spent 3 days together, and after that we just became best friends, and we've been best friends ever since. We like totally trust each other, and it's not normal for either of us to do that. But if I hadn't have arranged, organised, and actually held my in-person meetup, that would never have happened. It wouldn't have happened because we live like nearly 200 miles away, and we hadn't got that bond in the group. I didn't even speak to them that much. They didn't even speak to me much in the group. We weren't talking on Facebook or anything. We just like, it was only in the group would they have a few posts and me have a few posts. Well, obviously I have more posts, like because I manage the groups, but do you know what I mean? It was just posting stuff. So I'm really happy. And my other best friend, we met on asexuality.com. So yes, you can find people on there, even though we're not romantically compatible. We became best friends, and that was big. That we became really good friends on Asexuality, quite close friends on there. But when we met up in person at my asexual meetup, that just cemented our friendship and made it a deeper become a best friendship. Do you see what I mean? So there's a lot of value still in in-person contact and in in-person meetups that you can't get elsewhere. You know, and someone said about my course, like, couldn't you get into universities and stuff like that? And I said, but it's geared, my courses are geared specifically for asexuals. Like, they show you how to do everything in the asexual community. You know, the people, general public, wouldn't be interested in that, the university. I thought it was a nice idea, but it's like my courses have been specifically done, everything I do, to arrange an asexual meetup involving asexual people, asexual platforms, asexual groups. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very important that you understand that I've done this very niche. Luna, I thought it was kind of interesting how COVID forced the people to build their relationships differently without the physical first, which is generally how aces connect, more cerebral, communicative. That's a very good point, Luna. Yeah, I think asexuals in this crisis know how to kind of, how can I put it? Like, the ones that got mental health problems, obviously they found it very difficult to cope with. I know, because my best friends have mental health problems, and well, you know, mental health difficulties, they prefer me to say, which is mental health difficulties. And so they found it very, very difficult. But I do know that the benefit of being asexual, there's lots of benefits. One of the huge benefits is that we usually communicate, like Luna said, online first. You know, we usually talk to the people online first, you know, and we're used to managing our lives more online, because when we talk to people in our community, you know, like, I run 5 asexual groups, so I'm always talking to asexuals online in my groups all the time, you know. So a lot of my relationships with asexuals is online, so there's still value in holding online asexual meetups. And some people have got social anxiety, so they can't hold in-person meetups. I have anxiety, and I used to have very bad anxiety, so I couldn't even be in groups. So it's kind of like a miracle that I actually run groups now and organise them. And anything's possible. It just shows you what can be done, you know. But there's much value. That's why I've done a separate course, which, besides the asexual meetup mastery one, which is how to arrange a successful online asexual meetup, which will be on a special offer to begin with. And so early bird offer. So that'll be really good. So if people just want to hold online meetups, they don't want to ever meet up with someone in person and be the organizer of that, for example, because they've got so much social anxiety, they don't want to go out their own home, or maybe they have a disability which prevents them doing that, or they can't travel for some reason, that's the perfect course for them. And like you said, you know, without the physical first, it is how asexuals generally connect, you know. It's like I said to someone in one of my groups, you know, like, because they're like, oh, I don't, you know, I don't usually do dating online because, you know, it's not good. It's got a bad reputation. I do understand it, but the only way you're going to actually usually get an asexual relationship, the majority of the time, is by talking to someone online first, through a group, through a forum, you know, something like that, because it's not like an asexual is going to pop up on your doorstep most of the time, or in your local supermarket. Hey, I'm asexual. Do you know what I mean? We have to meet people online first, usually. Luna, benefits of being ace. Love how that sounds. Oh, thank you, Luna. Well, next month is Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. I presume you know about this book, right? And every year I read stuff out of it. And there is about, one of the questions is, what is the benefits of being asexual? So I don't know if I've got, but I'll be reading these out from my book all next month, because Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month specifically, with this book, is, you know, like, to celebrate our asexual diversity across the spectrum, and talking about love, life, and sex in relationship to asexuality. I'm glad you like that sound. Yeah. So there is. Oh, sorry, I haven't said benefits. I said positives. What are the positives about being asexual? So let me just read this person out. Who is this? Oh, this is Callie's story. I feel this question has a lot of dependence on how you identify. For instance, as a sex repulsed asexual, one of the perks is that I don't have to worry about pregnancy or STIs. But that would not normally apply to an ace who is in a sexual relationship for whatever reason. I think one of the main positives for me personally is that I'm more objective about things that have to do with dating and such. So people find me good to come to for advice. You see, that is a major, major, major benefit of being asexual. So there are lots of benefits of being asexual. And like Luna said as well, one of the huge things is that we are more geared towards the online life. Say positive / benefit, same to me. Yeah, I agree, Luna, pretty much the same. I like your space, your yeah, so it's really, really, really good. You know, because we are more geared to this online life. So I think we're more prepared in terms of mental health. I think some asexuals are less prepared for this event because, you know, it does take a toll, even on the best of us. It is hard because we are, you know, we need to maintain a positive attitude at all times, you know. And some people cope with the situation better than others because one of my friends has got social anxiety, so they can't go out on their own usually. So that's been very difficult to get food and stuff like that, you know. So and not so much now, but at the beginning it was very difficult to even get food for them to eat. So that was hard because a lot of the supermarkets in the UK, you know, their delivery times is like 2 weeks or more, you know, or you can't get it at all. So it was very difficult. Luckily a local company stepped in. So but that was a couple of weeks later. So my friends comment on how therapeutic I feel to them and compliment my ability to have many solutions, and thanks for the note on mental health difficulties language. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I've still got, I used to suffer with depression for years, like really badly, but I freed myself of that in 2012, and I still have some anxiety, which it's like to do with mental health, really, isn't it? So, but yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I have to remember that because one of my best friends said, "Not problems, it's difficulties." I'm like, yeah, I prefer that anyway. Difficulties sounds much better. So, you know, and I used to work for the NHS in the UK National Health Service, and I used to teach people social media for the aid of recovery from mental ill health. So yeah, not all like social media can be very good, because if it wasn't for social media right now, because I used to teach that social media is a good thing for mental health. So it depends, obviously. Some people don't always believe that, you know, it depends. You know, obviously some people get cyberbullied, so that's not a good thing. But there's a lot of positive stuff from social media you can get as well, because sometimes social media's got a bad reputation in terms of mental health, not being good for it. But, you know, I saw the positives, and I used to teach blogging specifically. Was my first course I ever taught for people with mental health difficulties. And yeah, so we always, at the place that I worked, taught people how to manage their mental health rather than try and force them to get rid of it. Which, you know, I'll have anxiety for the rest of my life. I'm actually don't want to get rid of all of my anxiety, because there are benefits to having some anxiety. Like, this is not what therapists want to hear. They don't want to hear you've got any benefits to being the way you are. But with stuff like this, but yeah, like having anxiety makes you a better writer. Well, in my experience, it makes me a better writer because I can anticipate what people are thinking and stuff like that. It's helped save me from injury when I've had accidents. So yeah, you know, saved me from Luna, laugh out loud. It saved me from injury. I fell down 11 stone steps years ago, and I actually managed to think whilst I was flying down the air going, I know it sounds funny, but it's not funny. Blooming were hurt, right? I was in a heap at the bottom, and a member of staff found me. But I literally went head first down 11 stone steps, and I crushed my chest, and I think I hurt my leg as well, and it was horrible. But while I was flying through the air, I actually was thinking, I've got to relax my body. I've got to relax. And it was because I was thinking that I was less injured than I would have been. If I'd have been really stiff, I would have been injured more. So it worked. But people that don't have anxiety usually can't think like that. But because I've been used to my anxiety for years, and I know how to manage. I've learned how to manage it very well in relationships. That relationship anxiety is my last worst anxiety that I have, which is, I love the idea of being in a romantic relationship, but I have huge relationship anxiety. Like, actually being in a relationship is kind of difficult for me to do. probably because a lot of the bad experiences I've had in part, you know, and because I do actually like my freedom quite a bit. I do love the single life. I've got used to it now. I've lived on my own for years, you know. So yeah, and I do have an anxious personality to a certain extent. So obviously I need a guy who's very sensitive to that and kind and caring and does want to message me and keep in contact with me and make me feel like safe and secure in that way. I can make myself feel self insecure in of myself when I'm single, but obviously in a relationship you do have to have a person who will help you with your needs as well in that way, you know. So, you know, I think it's very, very important to understand that not everything that other people think is negative is actually a negative thing. There's always kind of some positives most of the time. And I, you know, like I said, my anxiety helps with writing, it helps with not being so injured, but it used to get out of control. So I did have counselling for it. They didn't help. In the end, I just gave up with that because I look after myself better. I learned how to manage myself because I used to help other people manage it. That's how I got the job at the NHS, because I used to see someone and they recommended me for the course because they needed someone who was had lived experience of mental health problems. I say health problems, sorry, health difficulties. I kind of said that in relation to me, not other. I have had mental health problems in the past. You know, I used to have very, very difficulties. But you know, I've really learnt to kind of like manage them well. So when I used to work for the NHS, they wanted someone who'd have lived experience of mental ill health, and they also wanted someone who had a teacher qualification. And I, at that time, that year, I got a teacher training qualification and an information advice and guidance diploma. So I'm fully qualified to actually advise people on stuff, whatever I want, basically. So yeah, Luna, I used to have a lot of anxiety moving about the world in my body. So much paranoia, hating people commenting on my looks and hitting on me. It's not easy. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Oh. Like, see, for me personally, I don't mind people commenting on my looks. You know, I get it all the time. I actually like it. Me personally, I like people saying that. Look, if an asexual guy says it to me though, because I'm only interested in guys, it feels a lot better, because I know usually they're not coming from a sexual point of view. However, because some of these guys are more and more sexual end of the spectrum, there's probably some sexual element to it as well. In. Did I say something? So yeah, I wished I liked it. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I mean hitting on you is like, yeah, it can be not so, but I mean, I don't mind being sexy. I don't mind guys thinking me sexy. I don't mind guys finding me hot. I don't mind guys being sexually attracted to me, but I prefer an asexual guy. But you know, I don't want to have sex with those guys, you know. But I'm very actually. I mean, I go to clubbing. I don't know if you've watched my channel, or I don't know if you've got this book yet. This is in the description if you ever do want to get a copy. There's someone else that says this in the book, right? They are very like, I'm sexual and behavioural. The way I like to kiss, even though I experience no sexual attraction, and the way I like to dance. And there's even someone else in this asexual perspective book that says that they do very kind of sexual behaviour dancing. But then when they've disappointed guys because the guys thought that would translate to the bedroom, and it hasn't, because they don't want sex. They just enjoy expressing their sexuality or their selves in the moment in the dancing. And I'm like that. I like doing sexy dancing. I don't mind being close to a guy like that. It does get a bit much sometimes. Some sexual guys are just a bit too much, you know. I'm like, I'm getting a bit bored now. But you know, like, I don't mind, you know, like, if some person says, oh, you're beautiful looking, I'm like, thank you. I'm lapping that up. I'm like, thank you. But a lot of guys don't expect you to say that. They expect you to say, really? Oh, tell me more. Or usually, oh, you're very good looking yourself, is what they usually want. And I don't do that. I just sit there enjoying and receiving the compliments, and I just go, thank you so much. Oh, that's lovely. How sweet of you. You know, I love it, you know, because I like being admired. I know some asexuals are not obviously the same as me, but I like being admired for my looks. I like people thinking I look good looking or gorgeous or beautiful or cute or whatever they do, right? Because to me, that's just a positive thing. I don't see it as a bad thing. Hitting on you, Yeah, I mean, people wanting sex all the time with you is not necessarily nice. It does get a bit much. It does get a bit like, oh, for goodness sake, can you not give it a rest? I mean, can you give it a rest and not do that? You know what I mean? Yeah, and so, but it's kind of like I get guys interested in me, but I just say I don't want sex. I don't like sex. But a lot of them, they go, I don't like sex either. I'm like, really? I don't think so. I'm like, you do like sex. I don't. So I just tell them the truth. But you know what I mean? Like I've got so many guys now that just all around the world just message me and stuff and like my looks. I've got used to it now. And because I had bullying at school and I didn't have a great experience, and I actually love being complimented now, because it's like, I mean, I don't need it, right? But it's nice because I'm just like, oh well, I'm good looking then, because I get women who think I'm beautiful. I'm not interested in being in a relationship with them, but I get quite a few women thinking I'm beautiful, which is like, okay, like, how do I deal with that? Because I'm not interested in women. I'm just like, okay, thank you. That's really nice of you. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's better than looking ugly, isn't it? Or being called ugly or being called nasty names. So I'm just like, that's great, But I mean, even if people call you stuff, it doesn't mean to say you are. You just like ignore them because they're just being horrible if they say stuff like that, But like, I'd rather an asexual guy say to me, "You're so beautiful, you're so cute, I'd love to kiss you," because I'm really into kissing. Like, I'm into kissing, like people who are sexual, who are very sexual, love sex. I love kissing, so I do understand some sexuals in that way. Even though I wish there were more sexuals that weren't so sexual, I do understand that some sexuals, they just love sex so much. I don't love sex at all, but I love kissing. I can't get enough of kissing. And actually today I was writing some of my Asexual Guide to Sex book yesterday now, because I'm in Wednesday and it was Tuesday when I was doing some training course. I got 2 videos to watch. Well, one of them I finished now, but in between that, because I've got to write my own story in the Asexual Guide to Sex book, which is my second book for asexuals that I'm currently working on. Yes, I know it's an ironic title, but I've got videos on why I did it and everything else. So it is called for someone wanting to know if they're asexual, but they do want to have a go at having sex. How would they go about it? Which I didn't really, think about someone would want to know before. And then, the book evolved like that. I was from an aromantic asexual friend of mine, actually. And that's how the book originally evolved, and I got 3 asexual news stories that are being added to the book. I started advertising about, I wanted people to contribute to the book in June 2019, and it's now June 2020. And I had one new person last month join the book, and I got 3 people at the moment. I've done all the first edits with each of them. Big kiss to all of them that's helped the book. Put hours and hours of editing work in there. So, there are some asexuals that don't mind having sex, but I know there's some asexuals that don't like their looks to be talked about. They don't like the the stuff like that. But I've got used to guys finding me sexy and hot and attractive, and I just like, well, thanks, that's nice of you. It's better than saying horrible stuff, isn't it? That's what I think. And like, if you're attractive, you can't help being attractive at the end of the day, and guys can't help, or whatever, people can't help being attracted to you. It's kind of like, well, there's a beautiful flower. I mean, obviously you don't usually want to have sex with the flower, maybe some do. And I think the element that's horrible, particularly for asexuals the most, is when someone's kind of like perving over your body or something because they want to actually have sex with it and think about it as an object. I think that's the worst thing, really. Like, I don't like kind of like that aspect, it's kind of like a lot of sexuals are just after people for their bodies, but I'm never going to stop that. I'm never going to change people like that. It's just the way a lot of them are. And I don't want to partake in sex myself. So it's like, if you find me hot, if you find me sexy, whatever, that's fine, thank you very much, but I'm not interested in sex. If you're interested in sex, off you go to someone else. And what makes me really like amazed, it's like, why are you still talking to me if I've told you I don't want sex? Because obviously I think you'll change your mind. But it's like, kind of like, there's thousands of sexual women out there, because I'm talking, guys talk to me, right? There's thousands of sexual women out there. It's not difficult to get sex if you want it. So why bother carry on talking to me when I've made it clear I don't want sex? What is the point? Go and find someone who's sexual. I do tell them this a lot of the time. I said, go and find someone who's sexual, because really, I'm not interested, you know? So I think, it does get a bit much when, you get so many people just wanting sex all the time, because I get message loads and it's like, I'm not interested. I'm absolutely just not interested. I don't like sex. I don't want it. I don't need it. So if you want sex, I appreciate that you're different to me, but please go to another channel, or go, to go and find sex elsewhere from someone who loves sex as much as you do and wants it. Because I'm sure there's someone out there, there's thousands of people out there that love sex, women and men. So I'm sure you can go and find someone. Do you know what I mean? And other genders too, obviously. So, I just find it very, very irritating when it's like they persist, and it's like, and for us, I think as asexuals, it's a lot easier for us to get sex if we want it. Yeah, I find it like so easy. If I wanted to have sex, it's like I get offers all the time, and I come across sexuals and they're like, oh, I can't get any sex. No, I really want sex, but I can't get any sex. Why is it so difficult to get sex? And I'm thinking, well, you can just have all the ones that want sex with me if you want, because I don't want them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It seems to be like, if you don't want sex, more people want to have it with you, which is probably reverse psychology. So that's probably actually true. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't actually want sex. Do you know what I mean? There's thousands of people who do go to people who actually want it, not me. So I think, I've experienced the same thing as that. Yeah. It's really kind of strange, isn't it, Luna? Really, really strange. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not difficult to have sex. Just go to a nightclub, go and do a bit of dancing, snogging, and go back to their place and have sex. I don't recommend that because it's not safe, and you could end up being in a sexually abused situation. So I wouldn't recommend it. But I'm saying it's not difficult, is it, to get that? Yeah, it's so strange, Luna. I think it is like the reverse psychology thing. It's like people want what they can't have. So if you tell them you're not interested, they like it because some of them get fed up with being approached by people who really want a lot of sex, because it's like they're handing their bodies over on a plate, and they get fed up with those type of people. So the kind of like asexuals appeal more because they think we're being reserved. Like we don't want sex initially, but we're just being reserved about the whole thing. That's what they actually think. They don't realise or don't believe or trust that asexuality, or don't understand it, or take no notice of it actually being a genuine sexual orientation. Not difficult at all. Total reverse psychology for sure. Yeah. Because actually people get fed up. Like even on the dating site that I was on, mingle2.com, which I'm still registered on, but I haven't been on there for over a month now. I'm happy about that. And there's people on there in their profiles. They're even saying, I don't, because I'm interested in guys. Look at guys' profiles. So I'm not interested in fake women. I'm not here just for that. Is there any genuine people who want to talk to me? So even on sexual dating sites, they do find it hard to get a genuine person that's not just after sex. But some people, the people that genuinely do want a relationship, they get fed up with those people asking for sex all the time. It's like, I don't want that type of person, because they don't want a person throwing their body at them. Because it's like they can easily get that. Do you know what I mean? The thrill of the chase concept. Exactly, Luna. But it's like, the only guy I'd like to chase me is an asexual guy. It would be so nice. Because sexuals pursue. For sex, sexual people will go and travel around the world to have sex with someone. But that's not love. Love is when someone, will actually travel just to be in your own company because they love your personality so much and they just want to be around you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and they don't want to get sex out of you. They just want to be around you for you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy, and it's like, it's not difficult. I just write the roadmap for them. It's like, these are the stages. These are 10 steps if you're a sexual person, how to get sex. Here you go. Go through all these 10 steps. There you go. It's not difficult. The sexuals make it so difficult. I'm like, what is going on? You know what I mean? It's easy to get sex. It's all the time. It's just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I've even had someone on this channel tonight who you haven't seen, because YouTube holds their comment because it was all about wanting sex, but I've got my filters on, which automatically YouTube filters some people's comments out to do with sex. So this person came on and was talking about wanting sex. I'm like, that's nice for you. Off you go. Bye bye. Have fun. I'm not interested. You know what I mean? So it's a very, very, very highly sexualized world, unfortunately. I mean, I don't watch TV. I don't watch news. I know if I ever have my TV on, it's just to play movies. I've got it on the move. I've literally got it. Not Netflix, not anything else, because I don't want to see adverts for sexual stuff. I literally go and buy discs, you know, DVDs or Blu-rays, or have them as gifts for my birthday or Christmas, and I put them on my TV, and I have it on usually just the channel, the HDMI cable linked up, so I'm not even going on the landline. That's to do with phones, not even going on the regular channels. I don't even know what they're called anymore. The only time I usually watch TV is if I go to my parents', which my mum's on lockdown for however many months. Oh, it's my angel's birthday today, I have to tell you. 17th of June 2020. It's her 4th birthday. If you didn't know who Angel is, she is my daughter guinea pig, whom I can't see at the moment because unfortunately my mum is on permanent preventative isolation lockdown. She's meant to have done it officially for 3 months because she got a letter from my doctor because she's high risk category in 3 categories. She can't get it basically, and so it's meant to be officially, like yesterday now was meant to be the last day of it, but she's still doing that because of obviously the situation as it is. So I can't see Angel on her 4th birthday. I have sent her a birthday card by my dad when my dad like came to do something, pick something up in the car, not in my home. So it's still distance, and I put it on the back seat. So yeah, so I got a card and present for her, which my mum will be opening 8 o'clock, less than 4 hours this morning. So yeah, I really miss her. I'll show you a picture. This was my Christmas card that my dad made me. I got Eeyore on, of course, again. Look, that's my angel. That was me with a picture of her. This is an elephant. Yeah, that's Christmas. I just keep it up because it's got my guinea girl on it. So that's me, and that's my daughter Angel. She's 4. Good thoughts of you all. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't live with my parents, but Angel lives with my parents because Angel is diabetic. So, and she was completely blind, but she's got a little bit of sight back now, which is kind of incredible. The cataracts in one of her eyes is completely gone, which the vet doesn't know how that's possible. Like when you get cataracts, if you haven't had an operation or anything, you're not supposed to be able to get them vanished, and one of her eyes is completely gone. So I think she's got a little bit of peripheral vision back in that, because her eyes were both white originally. I mean, you know, not originally, but just before she had diabetes, 10 days before she went completely blind. So yeah, so my mum looks after her incredibly well, and it's amazing. But I just miss her because, you know, I don't know how many years she's got left because she's got diabetes, you know, and but she's 4 today, and I hope she'll have many more years, you know. But I can't see her at the moment. So it's very, very difficult for me. That's the worst thing for me at the moment, because I can kind of look after myself. I know my parents can look after themselves. I know they look after Angel very well. I've got no qualms about that whatsoever. But I just want to see her because she's like my daughter. Do you know what I mean? It's like me not being able to see my own child. It's just horrible for me. But it is the way it is. That's the most upsetting thing, I think. Oh, is there I thought there was a moth in here. I think there probably is. I don't know. There's a moth earlier in the toilet. That's my totem animal, if you believe in spirituality. So yeah, I think I've said all I need to say for tonight. But I just think that, you know, you should if you take any risks in life, make sure it's calculated risks that are as safe as possible. I don't want someone giving you their number, you going to meet them, and you don't know them, and something bad happens to you. So please do not do that. Just as a final note, I have to say that. But that doesn't mean to say that you should never, ever, ever give anyone who's a random stranger your number, because we're kind of all random strangers until we actually get to know each other, if you know what I mean. But please put it in a context. Know that a lot of people who are random strangers asking people your phone number are after sex. Categorically, that's what is on their mind. So if you're not into sex and you don't want that type of thing, then just like don't do it, right? Oh yeah, my moth's here. Hello, are you going to come and they can't see you. I have regular visits from moths. Come down here, sweetie. Down a bit. You can't see because I can't turn it up, I don't think. It's in my cupboard now. This Mac that I'm doing, it's this desktop I'm filming from. It's in a workstation wardrobe, and the moth was in the toilet, and now it's decided to come here and it's fluttering around. So I believe I'm quite spiritual, so a moth is my totem spirit animal. So I have actually done a live stream before. I've actually had a moth like on me. So yeah, they like keep me safe. Thank you for all the ace positivity. Looks like I have some videos to watch and books to read. Cheers. Oh, you're welcome, Luna. And anyway, stay safe, everyone. I love you to bits. And thank you, everyone who's been in chat. I like to always thank people who've been in chat before I go. So I want to give you a lot of love. Thank you, Eddie, so much for being on here. Eddie is not asexual, but they are having a no-sex relationship with their beautiful asexual partner. So that's good. For 2.5 years they've been together now. Congratulations. And then Ace Man Richard Howard, who's also got a new asexual podcast. Richard is awesome. Richard gave a donation to this channel not so long ago. Very this week it was. I think it was this week. Only a few days. Was it last time you were on the channel or the time before? Anyway, only a few days ago. And yes, so thank you to Richard for that. And if anyone else wants to make a donation, because there's no ads on this channel, there is a link in the description to PayPal. You don't have to pay by PayPal. It goes straight to my channel fund. It actually says Asexualized YouTube channel, so it specifically goes into asexual stuff. And then and then Luna, who have absolutely loved in chat tonight. I really do appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for taking part in tonight's chat. If you want the link to the book, if you haven't got it already, is down below, Asexual Perspectives. You can click the link in the description below. I also have a fibromyalgia book, because I know some asexuals have fibromyalgia, and it's good if you want to have more energy in life and be happier. And it teaches you how to overcome depression and have less anxiety, because I manage it well. So it's a good book, autobiographical anyway. Just in case you want a different type of book to read. It's good fun. And you do learn a lot about how to manage your life for much more positivity. Anyway, lots of love to all of you. And thank you so much for being here. I love you to bits. And as always, stay ace, embrace your quirky and each other. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the great big subscribe button below now. And you've got to hit that bell icon if you want to actually be notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video at some crazy time. So I love you and leave you for now, and take care. And I look forward to seeing you next video or live stream. Lots of love. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Luna. Bye, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.